you love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am the Wiz, and I'm here today to review the 2001 horror film The Others, starring Nicole Kidman, Fionnuala Flanagan, and Christopher Eccleston, written and directed by Alejandro Amenabar. So this film stars Nicole Kidman as Grace. She plays a devoutly religious mother of Anne and Nicholas. She moves her family to the English coast during World War II. She awaits word on her missing husband while protecting her children from a rare photosensitivity disease that causes the sun to harm them. Anne claims she's seeing ghosts. However, Grace initially thinks the new servants are playing tricks, but chilling events and visions make her believe something supernatural has occurred. So, I'm in a bit of an odd predicament when it comes to The Others. And basically, it's what I call the critical quandary. It's that the film has great, even excellent elements in the film, but I didn't find it all that satisfying. But it's one of these things that when you look at films or any kind of work critically, it's really hard for me to be like, okay, I recognize that these things are really good. I recognize that there is quality to this movie, but for some reason, it just didn't hit well with me. So it's going to be interesting to where I land. Let me get to the positives. The first thing I want to say is that the film relies entirely on Nicole Kidman's performance, and she nails it. And this is not a surprise. I know that The Others was one of her first big performances that were, I think, around with Moulin Rouge. I think this came out around the same time. The film relies entirely on her to move the story along, to get the drama in. The way that she performs is done very well. You feel her when she's paranoid. She's very good dramatically as well. Like, she nails every part of this film, including what happens at the end. The other thing I like is the inversion of light and dark. The thing with horror, usually, and the thing with scary movies, is that when it's dark, that's when scary things happen. When there's not any light, that's when the bad stuff starts happening. This film is the opposite. When it's dark, the kids are safe. They feel comfortable. But when it's light, then things start to go wrong. And this film really plays up on that. You have scenes where light peers into certain areas. Even if it's moonlight, there's a discomfort, a disquietness that happens in the film that you do feel that kind of discomfort when that is going on. So that I thought was a very interesting play on the use of light when it comes to horror. Now, my big problem with the film, honestly, is the twist. Now, I think the twist was good in execution, but I still found it a little disappointing. Basically, the thing is, I feel like that they executed on the twist well, but the twist was easy to suss out. I think by the end of the first act, I kind of knew what was starting to happen. I think it was fairly obvious where the film was going with the twist, but what I also don't like in the film is that when the revelation does happen, it just feels like an exposition dump. I think of films like The Sixth Sense from 1999, where you have this twist that happens, and then the film, when you see it again a second time, all of it's pretty much explained as the film goes on. It's just the twist is what cements everything, and it gives you like an enhanced viewing of the film and its quote-unquote true nature. I don't think this film has that. I don't think you can get more out of seeing this film a second time. I think the first time is all you're going to need. Some will disagree. I know they probably will, but just elements of the twist that I don't like. And I'm going to get into that in the footnotes right now, but before I do, the footnotes are going to be spoilers, so if you don't want to know what the twist is, you can stop right now. So, here are my footnotes for The Others, and my footnote is my issues with the twist of the film. What is the twist of the film? There's the kids, Grace, the housekeepers, they're all dead. And they are ghosts that are haunting the house of the living, and the others are actually the living. And that's a pretty neat twist, I have to admit. I think that was a good idea on that end. And the way they executed that twist, I think, was done well enough. But honestly, I don't think that there's enough to make the story that compelling a second time. And like I mentioned in my review, I think the best twists are the ones where you go into it going, wait a minute, did they hint towards that throughout the entire film? And then you watch it and you go, oh my God, they did. They did this, X, Y, and Z. There is two things I think the film does with the twist that I want to point out. And I mentioned in the first one, which is basically by the time the first act ends, it's kind of clear what they were hinting towards. So it wasn't really something that was a shock when it happened. And on top of that, the eventual big hint of what's going on, which was the Book of the Dead, which was a book of pictures of people that are dead, but are sitting on chairs, laying down. It looked pretty macabre and everything. That right there was kind of the linchpin. And when they showed that the housekeepers were in that book, I think really was like, oh, okay, this confirms it. It's interesting, but it kind of confirms it. The other issue is what they revealed with Grace. What you learn about Grace in the end is that Grace murdered her kids and then killed herself with a shotgun blast. And this is where I think this is more of an exposition dump, because I don't think the film really hints at what Grace did. It just keeps it hidden throughout. Now, some of you will be like, well, does it really need to point all that out? Yes and no. Again, I think the best twists are the ones that when you watch it a second time, the hints of what happened gets peppered into the film. Now, yes, Grace does brandish a shotgun at certain points of the film, but no, there's really no way of actually sussing that out. I'm not going to say that the story is bad. I think it's an effective story, and it does well with what it has. But as much as I think that the twist overall works, I still think it's kind of ineffective, because a good twist makes you want to watch it again, to experience it again, to see what you missed. And I don't think this film does that very well at all. Okay, so overall, I will recommend The Others. I know that other people will disagree with my take on this film, but I will say that the direction and the performance by Nicole Kidman make this a very watchable film, and I think the drama in this film is also very well done. I just think the revelation and the twist of the film is pretty ineffective. It tells the story well enough where I can enjoy the film, but I think, again, the point of a good twist is to want you to experience it again so you can get the hints and the clues, and then it will tell a deeper story after that, and I don't think The Others does that. So overall, I do recommend The Others. It is on the Criterion Collection, but if you want to stream it, you can rent it at any service. Now, if you want my full review on this movie, you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. You'll have my full written review right on the site, along with a link to the video that has this review that you've just listened to. Alright, so for Thursday, me and Zero are going to be reviewing The Conjuring, directed by James Wan. Saturday, I'll be reviewing Star Trek Insurrection, directed by Jonathan Frakes. And on Tuesday, I'm going to be reviewing a movie from a director that whenever he does a new film, I have to see it. And that is Makoto Shinkai and his film Suzume. The last film I watched of his was Your Name. And I gotta be honest, I thought it was good, but I thought the best thing about that film was the soundtrack. And that soundtrack was so damn good, I had to buy it. Like, the songs on that was amazing. But the film that I love from Makoto Shinkai is actually 5 centimeters per second. It's an hour-long film, but it is a beautiful film. But really, I'm interested in seeing how Suzume turns out. So, on Thursday, me and Zero are going to be reviewing The Conjuring, directed by James Wan. Saturday, I'll be reviewing Star Trek Insurrection, directed by Jonathan Frakes. And on Tuesday, I'll be reviewing Suzume, directed by Makoto Shinkai. I am The Wiz, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.